All right, let's go ahead and let's make our nodes and everything work out. So first of all, let's add in a var. We'll call this square and make that equal to sk sprite node. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add in our labels here. So we'll go to lbl main is equal to sk label node. And then we'll also do another variable here. We'll call this lbl score, make that equal to sk label node. You usually need two kind of labels in a game. Now let's make some background colors. So we'll call this off black color is equal to UI color, and we're going to add in 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, and 1.0. What that's going to do is that's going to make a nice off black color, not completely black. Let's make an off white color, make it equal to UI color, RGBA value, of course, and we'll say that this is 0.98, 0.98, and 0.98, and 1.0. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say that we'll add another here. We'll call this, what we can do is we can say that this is var background color custom and make that equal to UI color. And for now, let's do a dot purple color, but we'll most likely have to change that, and we'll change that later on. But right now, we're going to have those three colors. And we need to have another variable called touch location, make that equal to a CG point, and that will keep track of our touch location. Let's also add in a touched node. Okay, so we'll say that this is touched node, make that equal to sk node, and then add another one here. We'll call this intro message because we're going to add it an intro message, and it's best to add in an array. So I'm going to add in 2 quotes and a comma and copy that 3 times and make sure the last comma is deleted. And if you want to, you can go and add in spaces like that. But we're going to say ready, set, and then here's going to be go. So ready, set, and go. And now we need to have a timer counter. So let's have in the timer counter, we'll make that equal to -1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in add another variable called can click. This is going to be a game state variable, and we'll make that equal to false. So you don't want to be able to click when the ready, set, go is going on. So we're going to have to set that here. And lastly, we're going to add in the score, make that equal to 0 here. Okay. So let's go into our touches began here, and let's set up our logic. So first things first, instead of location, we're going to add in touch location. That way, we can take the last location, touch location, and use it anywhere we want because we declared it as a global variable. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to touched node is equal to node at point, and we're going to do at which point it's going to be touch location. Okay, and then we're going to say if can click is still equal to true, right? We're going to say touched node, and we're going to add in our own logic here. So let's add that in right now. It'll be function, it'll be touched node logic, and we'll add in our curly brackets, and within our can trig we're going to say touched node logic. Okay, so if can click is equal to true, right now it's equal to false, but once it's equal to 2 it will work here. So what we need to do next is we need to go and we need to add in the other, for example, the square and the labels here. So let's go ahead and let's spawn the square. So we'll say function, we'll call this spawn square, and we'll make that equal to, for example, square is equal to sk sprite node, and we're going to add in a color and a size, and the color will be off white color, and the size, well, we can add in a CG size right on the fly if we want to, and we'll make it fairly large, so we'll make it maybe 300 by 300, and we can always change that later. Let's go to square dot position, and we're going to make that equal to a CG point, and we'll put it right, we'll kind of put it in the middle for now. So we'll say CG rect get mid rect get mid x self.frame, and then cg rect get mid y self.frame. But what we're also going to do is we're going to subtract, let's say 100 from this, because we're just going to put it off the center, because the top is going to say ready, set, go. So we're going to do that here, and then we're also going to add in a name for this. So we're going to square.name is equal to, and we can call this square name. And this way we can go and keep track of this name, whatever we want here. So we're going to go to self.addChild, and we're going to add in the square. All right. So we spawn the square. Let's go ahead and let's spawn the two labels here. So let's add in a function. We'll call this spawn LBL main, and we'll make that equal to LBL main dot, or is equal to SK label node, and we'll give a font name, and we'll give it Futura. You can use whatever font you want. LBL main dot font color is equal to off white color. LBL main dot font size is equal to 180, but we might change that later to see how much it is. We're going to go to LBL main dot position is equal to CG point, and within the CG point we're going to say CG rect get mid x, and then we're going to go to self.frame, and then we're going to go to CG rect get mid y self.frame, and there you go. So we now have both rectangles here, and what we also need to do is we also need to go and, for example, add in or subtract. We could do two things here. We could say we can get min y, M-I-N-Y, and we can add, let's say, 40 to that, or maybe something like 100. And what that's going to do is that's going to put it at the bottom, and then we're going to add 100 to that. All right. Now what we need to do is we're going to go to LBL main dot text is equal to, and we're going to say that this is we need to add in the, for example, we're going to want to print the intro message. So if we go to intro message, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to print the 0 there. And remember, with an array, whatever number you put in, it will print that number here. So if it's 0, we'll print the 0 index, the 1 index, and the 2 index. You start counting at 0. Okay. Lastly, we need to go to self.addChild LBL main. Okay. All right. So we can do the same thing for spawn LBL score. And we'll go do the same thing here. We'll say LBL score is equal to SK label node. We'll give it a Futura if you want. And then we're going to say LBL score dot font size is equal to 90. LBL score dot font color is equal to, let's say, off black color. And let's go to LBL score dot position here, and for this here, I think I'm actually just going to copy this LBL main and put it here, because that's where I wanted the score, and I wanted the mid x here, or mid y, to be that in there. All right, so then we need to go to LBL score dot text is equal to, and we're going to say this is just score. And if you really wanted to, you could type in the word score, comma, or colon. And we're going to go to self.addChild, and we're going to add in the LBL score. Perfect. Now we need to go back up to the top here, and we need to do a couple things. First, we'll set the background color. We'll go to self.background color. We'll make it equal to background color custom. Then we'll add in spawn the main label, spawn the score label, and also we'll spawn the square. Let's take a look at this and see how it looks. So we'll just take a couple seconds here, and that's starting to look pretty good. But let's do a couple things. Let's change this to maybe 130, and we'll maybe add in 200 to this. And this size actually was pretty good, but we'll instead of we'll add in 50. So let's run that again. And again, what we're going to probably have to do is we're probably going to have to mix up this color, this background color a bit, just because it we'll have to change the purple. But one last item is, instead of subtracting 100, if we look at this, right, we could probably actually get away with it if we put it dead center. Let's see how it looks dead center. And if it doesn't look good, we can always add that offset back in there. All right, and I feel like, yeah, something like a 30, negative 30 offset might be just the trick to make this work here. Okay, and let's take a look at that here. And that looks pretty good. This concludes the tutorial.